Well, wow, you guys. Who would have thought that a minor, like a little blip on an update, would be way more significant than a new character being released, especially a really good one that seems to definitely find its way into the dominant arena meta right now. Uh, we're gonna talk about what everybody is talking about, been talking about for a long time now. I don't know the last time the Discord was this bumping, but we are going to talk about auto battle tickets, what the change as of morning of May 27th. I'm going to go over the rest of this as well, but I will be spending most of my time talking a little bit about Kiri and then the auto ticket situation, my opinions on it, the things that I think are valid to consider. So anyway, there's an update coming up later this week. There's going to be some changes, a lot of really good changes. And one really controversial one that I have some issues with as well. We finally get Kirri, a new defender, a much superior to Mega Wheel defender. She's going to be the new Battle Pass character for the Season of Claws that will start on June 1st. New premium feature. I'm going to save this to the end because it's going to be like the longest thing, and I just want to hit all these things quickly and then get to the longer stuff. Improved team presets interface. You can now rename and delete them. Before, all you could do was overwrite and you couldn't name them. So now instead of just saving over another comp, you can actually just delete one outright. If a guild leader's been, now this is something that's been a problem since like the first month at a game, that is finally getting changed. Now, if a guild leader has been active for 5 days, his rights are transferred to either the officer or guild member with the highest total power, just the person who's most likely to have the most investment into the game, whether it's time, money, combination, and they will at that point have the ability to kick that guild leader if they deem it beneficial or necessary. So that way people don't have to like all abandon a guild, create a new one, which is a lot to orchestrate if people don't have a Discord. So great improvement that's been requested for a long time. Added a couple of new achievements for joining our Discord and subscribing to the subreddit. I really love the Discord. It is happening right now. Now is the time to join. The Mighty Frost Mage event, that's the one for Freezard that you got at the beginning that runs independently of the other personal events. It's now going to last for 2 weeks, so I don't know if that's going to mean 2 additional weeks from the time of the update for those of us who already been around for a while. I don't know if that's going to be, it's immediately over for anyone. There's a 2-week timer effective for everyone, and it counts retroactively. So for a lot of us, this may be disappearing with the update, or it may be lasting additional 2 weeks beyond. Ooh, baby, talking a lot. Added new dialogue and story for French, German, and Korean. Added changed the character's power formula. Basically, runes before their power level that you would get for equipping a rune was purely based on the level of the rune, the star level of the rune, and the color of the rune. It was completely dependent on that. Now they're going to actually be assessing the character's stats independently in order to assign a more accurate power rating. Hopefully this takes certain things into consideration, like if a character has crazy speed secondaries, that's considered a bit more powerful than it may have been before. This may need some finicking with, but I am overall optimistic about this change, and I think it's appropriate. Overall, we will probably see increases to total hero power, or total hero power whenever this change goes into effect. New cool character models for Adam and Xantara. All of them have been great so far. Some of them haven't necessarily been super flashy, but they've been a strong, constructive addition with good quality. So I'm excited to see those. Per player's request, added an option to turn the device vibration off. Yeah, that's a good thing to have. A couple minor changes to Thalen. So this was something that I had pushed for just to make her a little more viable, I felt. Now both of her specials are set up to be available naturally, her leadership omitted, on turn 3. So you're gonna be able to use this or her other special that is able to apply like the healing and buff immunity, the single target one. But there was another minor change that she's now elves are gonna recover more turn meter than they were before whenever they crit, and then also 50% chance to restore 1 turn to random ability. So that means now, guaranteed, Fallon's going to have a special available 50% of the time on her turn 2. So she's already got crazy high crit whenever you add in the leadership, which obviously you need to get the other benefit of the leadership. So 50% of the time, Fallon's going to be a lot more valuable in the early game. And I think that was necessary to give her at least some kind of one up over Soleus, even though obviously for Battlegrounds you would want to run elves with Fallon independently of Soleus so he can run him with humans. We're going to go over Kiri a little quick, and then we're going to do the auto ticket controversy, ticket gate, ticket gate 2020. Unhelping Hand. There's a little bit of clarification on these abilities and how they work. You're going to deal this at max. This is all at max ability level 6, right? You're going to do physical damage, 50% chance to inflict healing block for 2 turns, and if the target is afflicted by healing block, they are affected by bleeding for 2 turns. So basically, if they already had healing block whenever she attacked, she is now going to apply bleeding to them. So that can come from like the Zera AoE, it can come from her already having basic someone before, and she is going to be basing people a bit because there's a lot of Kyra synergy in her kit. Deals 240% of damage to all enemies, recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt. So she's gonna recover health. That's great. There's a lot of health and shields recovery built into her kit, so that's great for a tank, right? 50% chance to decrease their turn meter by 15% if the enemy is slowed. Decrease their turn meter 2 times more. This is a particularly bad. Just this part right here is a particularly bad translation for English. What this really means, just ignore all this. 50% chance to decrease turn meter. So if they hit him, 50% chance to decrease turn meter by 15%. If that enemy is slowed, they're going to have it decreased by 2 times that amount total of 30%. So if they have slowed, they will have their turn meter reduced by a total of 30%, so an additional 15. And if they don't have slow and that 50% chance happens, then they'll have it reduced by 15. So that's what the 2 times more is. The 2 times more means twice the percentage, which is 30 total, not in addition. For her taunt, it's a turn 1 taunt, which again, other than against Zera, that's 100% what you want. Gains taunt and armor increase and tenacity increase are the 2 best buffs for tanks. For 2 turns, recovers 10% turn meter for each living demon in the party and recovers shields equal to 20% of maximum health. So, a couple things from that. One, she's going to be cycling through a lot quicker. We're going to see this with her passive ability as well. She has a lot of personal turn meter gain, and yes, that's going to result in some shorter taunts, but her taunt is also going to become available a lot sooner than it would have normally. And she's going to have these recoveries, right, with her AoE and with her shield more frequently than she would have otherwise if she hadn't been getting this turn meter. So I know it can kind of seem counterintuitive, but it's just kind of it's how they're building. They're running. She's a faster burner. She's going to cycle through her abilities more quickly than at least your typical tank. We have yet to see her stats and what her speed and such will be like. And then also you definitely want to put 1 to 2, maybe even 3 health sets on her to maximize that shield recovery. And what's nice about the shield recovery is you can overheal on that, whereas you can't with health. Finally, her passive Fidget. This is where you get a bit of that Kyra synergy. Recovers 15% of the turn meter for each hit received. So every time she is hit, she is going to gain 15% turn meter. So again, she's going to be cycling through stuff really quick. Multi-attacks are basically going to burn through half of her turn meter, just like that. So she is going to be she's going to be able to do a lot of sustain for herself, which currently demons, it's hard to fit Xantara into a team in the first place. So that kind of makes sense. And then finally, recovers 10% of the shield for each counterattack. What this actually means is she is going to recover 10% of her shield for every time that she counterattacks. Now, I'm waiting to get that back, like final confirmation on this. This should be 10% of her max shield every time that she counterattacks, or that she'll recover 10% of her shield in accordance with the damage she does. Obviously, one of those is a lot stronger than the other, potentially a bit overpowered. We'll need to see what they come down with there, but that's definitely going to be a crucial part of her kit either way. Because, if every time that you hit her, if you hit her for less than, it's really going to remove more doom from the equation. That's the main thing. Because if she's taunting and you have to hit her, and you're going to hit her with like a 1.5, like 2k hit from one of those demons, well, now, I mean, if you have more doom and you have it set up to where you can dispel that counterattack beforehand, well, then you're fine. But I know myself plenty of times those demons get to go first, and you might give back 20% of her shields, which, whenever you consider the damage they're actually doing, maybe it's closer to an effective of 10 to 15%. But I think it could do a lot to potentially shift the more doom situation that we have right now, because someone's got to move, someone's got to make room. So we'll see how this all goes. But overall, I'm pretty happy with her kit, as long as this doesn't end up being too overpowered situationally. Now let's talk auto battle tickets. So right now, you get auto battle tickets from whenever you buy energy refreshes, whenever you complete certain dailies, stuff like that, and you're able to click a button, simulate, if it's hard modes up to 5, and if it's gear, as much as you have energy to spend to auto something. Right now, anyone free to play, etc., is going to be able to do it. How this is going to work, right here, premium feature. So a premium feature is whenever you have spent anything in the game. That's like people who have spent even $2, right? And right now, they're not having to pay to watch ads for those daily energy refreshes. Not a bad value at all, considering how much time you're saving whenever you add that up over the course of months that you're saving not having to watch those ads. So auto battle tickets are no longer going to be required. You're not going to be using them. There's going to be a button that is replacing the current button that it's like free loot or loot now or something like that. And all existing tickets will be converted to Drac coins. That's going to be at a 1-to-1 rate. 1-to-1. That's pretty generous. I was pretty happy whenever I learned that. There were some of us who were joking around. It's gonna be like 100-to-1, 1,000-to-1 like conversion, but this was really generous on the part of the devs. Here's the issue, and I'll kind of give like the two opinions that, like, to me are completely valid and considerable in this discussion. Free to play is no longer going to be able to auto matches according to how things are right now. That is the current status. I'm not a huge fan of that, because it would have been one thing if this had been the case from the start of the game. But at this point, we have people who've been playing for 6-7 months. And now something's going to be removed from them that they already had and put behind a paywall. And it wasn't something that was always that way, where, for like your first 48 hours, you have a little timer that says you can use the auto loot, button right now, but it'll go away if you don't spend between now and then, but you can always spend later in order to get that feature back. If it had been that way at the beginning, I still think it functions as a little bit of a deterrent. I think there's at least a stronger argument you can make for having it be that way if it had been built that way at the beginning. But to me, the problem is you're taking something away and you're putting it behind a paywall. That doesn't leave a good feeling for people, and it to me, it's kind of like bad PR. Something like Marvel Strike Force, they don't have auto tickets at all. You just get to auto anything. You don't have to have paid anything. Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is another like big game in this same like style format. Auto tickets have never been an issue for people for years in that game. And I know, and the other thing to consider is there's a lot of people right now that don't really worry about auto tickets. And so for them, they're like, wait, this wasn't even a problem for me. Sure, I'll take some Drac coins, but I would happily give up all those Drac coins to be able to keep on autoing battles. And so there's been a lot of suggestions that myself and all of the people on the test server, Game Change, has been talking about. Those of us who are active anyway. Everyone is unanimously like, I don't like how this was done, and we're pushing for them to not wait for things to go badly, reaction wise with the update, and lose a lot of people. The other side of this argument that to me is completely like valid from like a numbers perspective is you get a ton of value in this game for like a $2 purchase. A ton of value. You get to never watch ads again to get your free energy. Again, that's like a few minutes that you're saving every single day that you play. That's an hour a month, etc. That's not nothing. I remember it being pretty irritating, especially whenever it wouldn't work. They have it working well now, but you get that, right? If you do this early on, you get Slinger for free. Like one of the 2 dominant leaders in Arena right now, you get for free. Like one of the people you'll want to use to unlock more Doom, who is one of the like most useful characters in this game right now. For free. This is just along with whatever else that you've bought. If you bought like the Freezard pack for like your $2 thing, you get a ton of shards for great characters. It's not going to be accessible to you till later on. My main thing is I want people to be able to see, but like that a premium feature is really, 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 really cheap. Now I know there are some people that they have multiple accounts, and that's another issue to where I'm like, see, and this is why I overall don't think it should go in this direction. But again, for everyone who's like, hey, this is not a big ask. This is a very, very small ask. That is true. However, I think because it wasn't this way at start, and because of the scenarios where it might deter someone who wants to kind of figure out a game first and give it a feel for it before they want to start putting any money into it, I think it potentially deters that person from staying with the game and financially contributing to the game, which is obviously good for its long-term health. And it's not good to take something away that's already in, even though they are like hypothetically giving people all these Dracoins for the auto tickets they might have accumulated. I feel like a lot of people would say that exchange is not worth it. I would happily trade the 2,000 Dracoins I'm getting to be able to have that auto loot button. So that's one of the solutions we've been suggesting too, is basically to allow people to purchase being that auto loot button with Dracoins potentially as kind of like a meeting people midway, whereas if they've been with the game for a while, they've been able to accumulate those, allow those people to use Dracoins to purchase it, even if just for a limited period of time. There's a bunch of things I think could be done to make this better, but the main thing I get people are going to be opinionated and be really frustrated by things. I just want us to do our best to really work towards what solutions can we push forward, how can we best effectively communicate things. And let's not get into kind of like little tiffs about stuff in the Discord. That would be the main thing I would love to see come out of this, is just people talking, coming together, seeing the points that people are trying to make without necessarily seeing them as disagreeing with their side of things. Because again, I see both sides of this, and I would argue for both sides of that argument, but in the end, you do need to come to a decision. I think that decision is to at least have some way that people are able, whether it's letting them buy it with Dracoins instead of money, again, for those longer term players who've been able to justify that by, hey, I've accumulated, look at these thousands of tickets you're about to give me Dracoins for, can I just use that to get this feature back? I think that's fair. But at the same time, for all the people saying this is not a lot of money people are asking in order to keep this maintained, and it's for a game people play for. I mean, gosh, when you do that $1 to month, it's like, whoa, spending like 25 cents like a month in order to have that. I just don't feel like that's a big ask. But again, for the people who have multiple accounts, hey, I already paid on this one, I shouldn't have to, and that's too complicated to manage. And so I think they either need to allow auto tickets to continue as is for free to play players, and then for premium players, again, give them that auto ticket conversion, and give them the free. They don't need auto tickets anymore. And then if you're not going to do that, at least let people buy the auto loot button with Dracoins, particularly for the longer term players who have been playing for a while. We want them to stay playing the game, and they're just essentially, you would just be paying back what you got, at least in part, to restore that function to the game that had been a part of your experience for the entire time you've been playing. So Let me know if you have any other suggestions and how you think to fix other than those kind of options I've already presented. Would love to get people's input on that, because I'm all about just finding the best solution. I don't want it to be just overreaction theater. I want us to actually find something, move forward, try and get in front of things if we can, but if we can't, just already have kind of the ideal solution ready to submit. So hope you guys are having a good one. It's gonna be lit on the Discord, so come on in and grab some popcorn, but I'll see you guys next time.